Hi, Katie.
Hi, Pam. You scared
Hi.
me a little there.
I know, I wanted to try something new. Hello, LinkedIn.
Hi,
Hi, if
Lincoln.
you're here with us today. We had planned to do a little bit of a fun conversation about communications in a hybrid world and how to connect and communicate when you're not together or when people are in different places and different times and all of that. But we just weren't feeling it today, and we were feeling for humanity and the world a little bit too much to have that
Yeah,
conversation today.
on the
Yeah,
brink.
yeah,
Feel like, yeah,
yeah,
emotional.
we were. So we thought we would just have a conversation instead about, like, what do you do to support your team when the world is falling apart? Or at least it seems like it.
I don't mean to laugh.
I know. It's
Yeah,
that is what we would call it is, I don't know,
nervous laughter, truthful laughter. It's like,
nervous laughter,
yeah,
laughter to kind of like try to escape
compensate.
what's really going on. Yeah,
Yeah,
these are
yeah,
things that happen in humans because that's what we are, humans.
yeah. I
Um,
think like having this, we were going to do this team communications, and we were communicating even prior to this, and you really open it up to what should we do? Should we cancel? Should we reschedule? Should we just flip the switch? And so it was great that we were able to talk to each other and kind of talk it over and see where we're both at.
mhm.
And I think we're both on the same page, so
Yeah.
yeah, it was good that we were able to like move some stuff around and
Yeah.
get real.
Yes. So we're feeling real today. Um, there's a lot going on in the world. There's been a lot going on in the world for so long. And with today, I was saying to Katie, I woke up in the middle of the night and remembered something that I hadn't done. And so I picked up my phone and turned it on, like out of airplane mode. And immediately news alerts were coming up about Russia aggression and attacking in Ukraine. And it just felt like a lot. And I am thinking about I'm thinking about people in Ukraine. I have a habit of listening to some news podcasts on my dog walk sometimes, and I was listening to some with reporters in Ukraine, and it really hit me when they were talking about, like, they were kind of had recorded themselves as things were going on, and like things seemed sort of normal, and then there was warnings, and then a couple of them said, "Oh my God, this is happening,"
Yeah,
and it just was
explosions
like,
and
"Oh man."
yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
feeling all the feels today.
yeah, yeah,
And so we thought probably your people are as well.
yes.
And one thing I know about when things are really bad and when it feels overwhelming and when there's like so much bad news and it feels so big and you feel so small within it all. One
Hmm.
thing I know is to find something you can do. And it sometimes for me that has meant sending a donation to something. Sometimes it has meant just doing a kind thing for someone in a community that's been marginalized or oppressed or whatever. Sometimes today it is thinking about how can we support leaders and people at work during these times. So that's kind of where we decided to go today. What can you do if you're a leader and you want to support your team during a difficult time? So we thought we'd talk about that. So if you're here with us, first of all, how are you feeling? If you're here with us today, let us know in the comments, how are you doing? And I'll actually pop something up here. Let's see. Whoop, where am I? Where am I? There. Yeah. Okay. This chart has a whole bunch of emotions. Sometimes I find it actually helpful to use it to think about the emotions I am actually feeling, because a lot of times we are not great at talking about emotions. Let me just shrink this a little bit so I can be here a little.
It's really small on my end.
Is it? I'm sorry if people can't read it. I just want to try to be here.
Maybe you can point out what it's all about.
Yeah. So first of all, talking about emotions. So why am I suggesting you do this? Sometimes it is helpful to be able to name the emotion. It actually dampens your amygdala, which is putting us oftentimes into this threat state, fight, flight, freeze state, where it's really hard to be rational and think and get our brains going. So by the simple act of labeling your emotions, we would call it emotional literacy in the emotional intelligence world. Naming your emotions helps to dampen that amygdala, and it kind of gives you this a little bit of a kind of almost a distance from it, to kind of take a bit of a meta perspective and see that, like, oh, I noticed that. And sometimes it's even helpful. Neuroscience scientists and psychologists have said helpful to say, like, oh, I noticed Pam is feeling X or whatever. And so, this emotion chart gives us a whole range of emotions. The other thing is, and if if you haven't seen Susan David's TED Talk, she talks about this, about how, emotionally intelligent people don't just say, I feel bad or I feel good. There's a whole range of emotions that we start to get in touch with. And so if I look at this today, I am feeling
Several
like,
things.
yeah, like, I don't know if sorrow might be it. Like, I am feeling uncertain for sure. A little bit helpless because
Yeah.
of what's going on, and I feel far away from it. But I also know that there's over 1 million Canadians who have Ukrainian background, Ukrainian heritage, and I know many of them personally, so I know they have family there, and so we are all connected. So even though I feel like far away, I also feel connected and but helpless a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
I go with like the frustrated, and
mm,
it's funny because I look at some of these, and when you dial down into like the middle, I'd be like, oh, I would never call myself that.
mm,
But all the real emotions that,
around the
yeah, are on
outside.
the
Yeah.
outside are like, yeah, I'm 4 out of 5 of those. So,
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
you able to share it in LinkedIn, or send it to me? I
Yes.
can pop it in there. Yeah, just
Of
so we have it in the
course.
comments or something.
Somehow I will do that. Yeah. So we will share it. This is from, I don't know if it's called Junto or Junto Institute, but there are many of these that you can find on the internet. There's actually I was looking at some really pretty ones on Etsy, in magnet form and all different things the other day. But yeah, we will share this in the comments on LinkedIn. So if you're here with us, though, take a minute and check in with yourself, and how are you feeling? Um, Here's the thing, like, as things are happening, there's a whole bunch of things that happen in the workplace, and I don't know, Katie, what your perspective is on this, but, like, first of all, when we're living in a VUCA world. If you've come to any of my talks in the past, I've probably mentioned the word VUCA: volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And although there were certainly warnings about this invasion happening, it still feels uncertain, volatile, complex, and ambiguous. So when
And
we're
I feel like it's like like it's the another layer to the like what happened in Ottawa and
Yeah,
COVID, and like it's just
yeah,
we keep piling on more and more. So
I know. I think, and I was just going to say, like, our brains have been in this threat state because of so much going on for so long. And every time you think that maybe it's going to get better and we're going to be able to kind of normalize where we are, something else happens. And
Yeah.
this is a horrific happening.
Yeah.
And so when your brain is in this threat state, you literally cannot be as productive, as thoughtful, as rational, um, as high performing as you normally are. So as a leader, what does that mean? Like I would suggest check in on your people and just check how they're doing.
Yeah.
Practice some compassion, share how you're feeling, and really watch for trying to like silver lining things, or like um, there's often a feeling of wanting to make it better and look on the bright side or that sort of thing. And I would suggest this isn't necessarily that time to do that. It is a time for like listening with empathy and being vulnerable and sharing if you're finding things challenging, and sharing how you're feeling and doing something for yourself, whether that is, Katie, you actually asked our check-in question the other day. The first part of it, I really found that really cool. Do you want to ask that? Because I feel like that's a good question to think about for yourself today or on days like this, and to
Yeah.
take action on. What was the question?
I attended a women in wellness online seminar, and there was a woman named Nova Nicole, and she had started out the evening asking us, I never feel worse after. So I put that to you, and you were, I think, maybe a little confused because I'm not normally as deep as that.
No, it was really good. It was such a
Yeah,
good question.
but
And we
but
had,
the
yeah.
way that she framed it as like, we can always say this makes me feel great, or this is what I do to make myself feel better or whatever. But like the thinking about where you never feel worse after, and allowing yourself to like do that, it was very
Yeah.
interesting. So let's ask everybody, what do you never feel worse after doing?
Yeah. And the other day I said meditating,
Yeah.
or I said yoga. I said yoga.
Yes, you did say yoga.
Um,
Yeah.
and
And I was telling you, I was saying, some people's answers were walking the dog or walking in general. And then one woman said watching whale videos.
mhm,
And I feel like my Instagram, I'm very happy, has been full of cats doing things. So those are the things that are making me happy on social media right now, because a lot of it is very overwhelming. So if I can
yeah. Yeah.
see the overwhelm and then some cats in between, it seems to like calm me down a little bit. Oh,
Oh, sorry.
did you do that?
I did that by accident. I didn't know what it meant. Clicking buttons.
We're still
Um,
learning. Yeah.
yeah. What is something that you do that you never feel worse after? And so for me, and the reason why we're asking that today is for you as a leader, it's probably a good day to do something, one of
Hmm.
those things. You might want to even have that conversation with your team as you're checking in on people, and share what you're doing, because there is some shame, I think, in the workplace to like being vulnerable or saying that you're not okay a lot of times. And I'm hoping that we've gotten over that and we're making it safe for people to say how they really feel over the course of the last couple of years that have been so difficult. But um, the things that you do as a leader to model that really make a difference. So for me, I am going to go for a walk with the dog
Yeah.
today. That definitely always makes me feel better too, especially now that I have the spiky things for the ice on my boots, because before it was a little dangerous.
Yes, it can get
Um,
very dangerous.
what's your thing you're gonna do today, Katie?
I think I would love to take my dog out as well. Like, I can hear him barking right now. I don't know if you can hear
I
that.
can hear
So
that.
he's probably found a squirrel or something. But I need to get out of the house, I think, and like just be in some fresh air,
Yeah.
and I might have a drink later as well. I feel like it's a night for a glass of wine.
Yes. Yes. Might be.
Not that that's a good
Um,
coping mechanism, but yeah.
yeah.
And I also I really appreciate being in a position that, if I just need to step away from work because I can't concentrate or there's so many things coming in, then I can come back to it and like be able to really like when my head is maybe a little more clear, because it has been a little overwhelming since we woke up this morning. It's been
I had a lot of things on my to-do list today, and I have accomplished like 1.5 of them.
Yeah.
And I was saying to Katie, I'm like, is it just that I'm too emotional? Like I do tend to feel and put myself in people's shoes and really think about how people are feeling a lot. And it can sometimes be difficult for me to separate, and I really work on that. But I think that there's a lot of just feeling overwhelmed these days. And then today's events make it even worse. And I just want to say welcome to Jim.
Hi, Jim. Jim and I used to work together in the olden days.
Hi, Jim.
He's a wonderful person. And a big golf fan.
PGA Tour, red wine waiting. Sometimes it's helpful to think about some things that you have to look forward to. My cousin and I were just texting back and forth, and we said, let's, before the winter ends in Canada, go to one of those domed places in a winery in the Beamsville Bench.
You should come to Beamsville.
I'll be coming out your way, Katie.
Yes, I know quite a few.
So it feels good to have a little something to look forward to. So we're planning that.
And I think that's something that we struggle, like I've been struggling with, and we had talked about it this morning, like what are we allowed to feel right now? Like, are we allowed to feel happiness and joy and look forward to something? So like allowing yourself to think, oh, I can be happy, and I need to look at the good things. Jim says the good earth, which is a lovely
I do love the good earth.
Fielding also has some nice.
I don't. Does good earth have domes? Because we were looking.
They don't have domes, no, but they've glassed in their main.
We're all about the dome. So. It has to be a dome.
It has to be a dome.
Dome or nothing.
So I think fielding would probably be your best choice around here.
Yes. And Jim, I couldn't agree more. He says you should still be able to feel happy. Yes. And it's so interesting because there is this do I feel guilty for feeling happy? Am I is it not, it's not fair, but we have to feel all the feels.
Yeah.
And I always think about my sister and I used to joke about some people are very steady with their emotions or what's going on or how excited they get about things or whatever. And we often tend to feel almost a roller coaster. We're super excited about things, and then oh my gosh, things can really hurt us, and really being open to that. And I sometimes go I don't know, but it is when you stop yourself from feeling the negative, I'm saying that in quotes because they're not negative emotions. They are telling us things a lot of times, but those more difficult emotions, you do kind of dampen the positive ones too. And so we should be able to feel all of the emotions without shame or guilt or judgment. Angst and other emotions and
recipes.
Well, and I'm no expert in investing, but I feel like when they go down, it's good to be continuing your contributions. This is what my people tell me.
Yes, it's very busy season for all of our RSP friends.
Yes, it is. So. Katie knows, coming from that credit union environment. As a leader, though, important to check in and talk through what the team is feeling. Thank you, Jim, bringing it back to the conversation at hand. Yeah, as a leader, what you are doing and saying today and the kind of conversations you're having with your team today really will make a difference. If you are continuing to and I hope you're not ever cracking the whip, but where's this project, and you're really being focused on task without caring about people, that tells them something. And I really think sometimes we forget, and again, it goes back to that shame. Sometimes as leaders, we don't want to share that we're struggling. So we kind of tuck that away and like focus on the work. And I've certainly worked in environments where it didn't feel safe to share that I was struggling. And so I have definitely done that before and just
Yeah.
gone full-fledged into the work in a very unhealthy way. But uh, you can build trust and show empathy by asking how people are feeling, really listening to what's going on with them. And the act of doing that, actually, they have found that empathy, when I show empathy to someone else and we feel that connection, it can activate the vagus nerve, which actually will help your brain to start working in a more effective way as well. So if you don't want to do it because you just want to care about people, you can do it because it will help them to, get back into kind of some form of normalcy in some ways too.
You had posted a podcast yesterday, and I've tried to listen to it several times and get interrupted every single time. But the very first thing that he says is something about leaders that don't cry can't be trusted, or something like that.
Yeah.
And so that is I just keep hearing it on loop because I keep restarting it, and I
Mhm.
had never even really thought of that, because where I came from, it was like, no, the leaders have to be strong ones, and the leaders have to be like, they have to be the ones that have it all together, and they can never show weakness. And so
Mhm.
it's nice to see that that mentality is changing,
Yeah.
and that it is more about like being able to feel
Yeah.
and show it. So
Well,
yeah.
and yeah, like I hope it's changing. And I know for a lot of our clients and the conversations we're having all the time are really about bringing, like being fully human and
Hmm.
like being understanding and caring about people and being able um, to have that compassion at work. And I hope that that is growing more. The podcast you're talking about was with Brave New Work,
Yes.
with Aaron and Rodney, who I always say, like, they're like my mentors and they don't even know it
They
because I
don't know
listen
it.
to their
Yeah.
podcast all the time. I feel like I know them. Um, and Jim Dethmer from the Conscious Leadership Group, which uh, I joked, but it's true. I literally have 3 copies of this book, one in my office, one in my nightstand, and one in my living room, because I have pages earmarked and everything because I turn to this book when I'm struggling. So like
Yes.
what is it that can help you kind of feel grounded? What can help you to kind of get in touch? And they do talk about like fully feeling your emotions, and um when you are in this threat state, we kind of try to avoid emotions or withdraw from them or ignore them and like kind of, yeah, deny them. But a lot of times to just feel them, like, and I was walking the dog this morning. I mentioned this. I was listening to the podcast, and when the reporters were saying, "Oh my God, this is happening," and knowing that there are so many human people being attacked, and like just thinking about families and people in the Ukraine, and I started crying.
Hmm.
And I was out there all by myself at 6 a.m. with the dog, so no one saw me. But like allowing yourself to feel helps you kind of get past it faster. So sometimes like just letting the emotion out and um, can help you kind of ride that wave of emotion. And it takes, a minute and a half. And
Yeah.
then I'm able to think. I'm able to like bring myself back to the present moment and just, be here. So
And again, it's that gratitude piece, right? Like it really makes you step back and be like how lucky are we to live where we live, even with everything that's going on. You're able to go out and walk your dog at 6 o'clock in the morning without being
mhm,
bothered, and like there's not a lot of, you know
mhm,
we
yeah.
do have lots of freedoms that we take for granted, and then something like this happens and it's like, whoa, that's
Yeah.
puts some perspective on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that the whole last 2 years have been um, helpful in getting perspective for many people. And then I would
Yeah.
argue that maybe some times we've lost some perspective.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into that,
No,
but
we
I feel
won't.
like there is like um, the polarization of stuff. Um, so it just keeps on bringing me back to empathy, like how
Yeah.
important empathy and compassion are right now, and staying away from, we were talking about this, like it can be easy to say like they, or to like the other people who have
Yeah.
different feelings, but like to really know that we are all humans, and like what is causing people to be so fearful that they are like getting swept into some of these ways of thinking, and it just like I try to find some empathy and compassion, and I think that's just so important, whether you're at work or in life or whatever is
Hmm.
happening today. So
Yeah. And I imagine as a leader, I'm not a leader currently, but as a leader, like
you are
knowing
a
that you
leader.
thanks. Don't feel like a leader sometimes. Um,
None of us, all of us feel not like a leader sometimes.
yeah, but like having different mindsets and ideals of people that work for you, and like trying to get into that empathetic mind and realize what everybody's going through, everybody's different life journeys,
Hmm.
um, and really seeing which way
Hmm.
you can lead.
I'm saying there's got to be a limit, though.
A limit,
Um,
a limit to what, Jim?
I know we don't. It's hard to have a political conversation on social media, so I don't
No,
wanna,
yeah, we're not going
get into
to.
that, but, um, yes, I agree. And I mean, I can maybe just say this part, like, if everyone could just stop sharing things out of context,
Yeah,
and someone tweeted this, so now it's like a fact, or like a little clip of a YouTube video that is not telling the whole story and making up a story about it and just believing things at face value, and actually like looking at it with a critical mind, I think that the world would be better. But it's so easy to share something that is inflammatory, or um, and that's what social media has done. And I like, oh my gosh, like sometimes I do fear for the world, and how much misinformation travels so quickly, because it is so easy and so like addictive to get into the swirl of the fearful rhetoric and stuff that is
yeah,
spreading. So I just wish that people would pause and like think about like what's the context of this, where did this really come from, is maybe do some research and
I feel
not
like you're
just.
going down a rabbit hole.
I know, I don't want to get into it, but okay,
We're
let's go
pulling you
back to
back.
the
Let's
workplace.
pull you back.
Pull me back. I know, it's so I should bring up that emotion where, uh
Yeah, bring back the emotion
oh my
wheel.
gosh.
Yeah.
So our message today is empathy. Our
Yes.
message today is like,
Yes.
as a leader, check on people,
Yeah.
check on yourself, take
And we'll
care of
bring it back
yourself.
around to communication. Really like communicate with people and find
Yeah,
out how they're doing. And
yeah,
um, I always think about like being a new person in a work environment, and like, check on those new people, make sure that
yeah,
they're okay, because
yeah.
they're probably feeling even more alone than they maybe already did when they had
Such a
started.
good point.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I've been a new person a bunch of times, and it can be,
yeah,
especially in this hybrid world, it's like just you and your computer a lot of the time.
yeah,
so,
yeah,
so do some check-ins and see
yeah.
how people are
Check in,
doing.
check in,
Yeah,
take care of yourself, listen with empathy. Yeah,
yeah,
I love this is really great advice from Jim. Focus on what you're responsible for and what you can control. Like there's a lot that we can't control. So find the things you can control. You can control how you show up and how you are acting with compassion with your team and what you're doing and saying every day. So focus on those pieces. We can't control everything going on in the world, but we can show up with compassion and empathy. That's really all I have to say today, because I don't want to get into a wormhole of.
I know.
So I know
I always
our
like to
thoughts are
explain
with.
at the end. Yeah, I was going to say, I always like to explain at the end of these things that, like, Pam and I have no agenda. We have these conversations all the time, and we're like, we should bring other people's opinions into these conversations. So
Yeah,
that's
let's
why
hear
we
what
do
other
these.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so we will be back with our regular programming next week.
We don't know what we're going to talk about then either.
We're not sure yet, but it will be more upbeat and more specific
Yeah.
to making work awesome.
Yes.
Today, we just want to help a little bit with just
letting everybody know that they're not alone.
You're not alone.
Whatever
You're
you're
not
feeling,
alone.
you're not alone.
If you are feeling a lot right now,
Yeah.
you're not alone. Sorry, Jim, no dancing today. No dancing today, but we promise it'll be at some
We're
point.
sitting. Yeah.
It'll come up at some point.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we will be back with some Make Work Awesome discussions next week.